need your socks. Hey!
The Lost Art with Andrew Cox podcast. A Marine Corps League and Till Valhalla Project Ambassador. Now streaming on all major podcast platforms. Thanks for tuning in to the podcast that has given a voice to our veterans. The Lost Art with Andrew Cox. Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Lost Art Podcast. That podcast giving a voice to our veterans. I'm your host, Andrew Cox, and today we're having a fireside chat with special guest Red Skelton. But before we get into the interview, are you enjoying the podcast? Then make sure you go to the website. That's thelostart.podbean.com. Go check us out, see what we're all about. If there's any way you can help us in getting our veteran voices out for all to hear, it'd be much appreciated. A big shout out to the Till Valhalla Project. They're out there doing some amazing things. I really encourage you to go check them out at tillvalhallaproject.com. And as always, for those Marines that are out there, those FMF sailors that are out there, there's a place for you once you get out. That's right, it's called the Marine Corps League. So we're trying to get our numbers up, trying to just do more and more every single day. So go to the website, mcleague.org, and you can sign up to be part of the fewer, the prouder, a United States Marine Corps League member. Are you a Marine veteran? Are you missing that bond you had on active duty? Then I have a place for you. Join the only congressionally chartered Marine Corps Veteran Service Organization, the Marine Corps League. Get that brother and sisterhood back in your life. Become one of the fewer, the prouder, a Marine Corps League member. All right, we're back. We can go ahead and go round robin. All right. I was going to start with Mike, but he's gone. Okay, Mike, how you doing?
I'm doing good. It's been a good week so far. Had a busy day today, a productive day at work, so
I like it.
Things are finally starting to pick up a little bit. So
yeah,
it's nice to be a little lax here and there for a while, but all of a sudden when you have to get back to doing something that you're used to doing, and at first you're like, man, I don't want to do this. And all of a sudden when you're doing it, I'm like, heck yeah, this is what I want to do. So
yeah,
I can't say that that's actually what I want to do, but I enjoy doing it. So
yeah, well, that's all that matters, as long as you enjoy it.
It's been a good week. Daughter's coming home tomorrow from Tennessee. Hadn't seen her since Christmas, so she'll be home for the weekend.
Very nice.
Have an early Easter dinner this weekend. So
oh, nice. Yeah. Nothing wrong with that.
Nope.
Yeah, very nice. Well, awesome. Well, I got our special guest here. This is Red Skelton. Red, how you doing? I know you've been out hunting critters and all kinds of good stuff, but how things going?
Man, it's going pretty good. The hunt is on. Everything's good. No, I've been having a good day today, and just happy to be able to come on your show with you, and just happy to be here, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And just so everybody knows, we're talking about a couple of raccoons, maybe a family of raccoons that tried to make a home in your attic there, right?
We done got some coons done come into the house from above, man. They come up and knocked a little hole in the side just under the roofing, and man, it's been a fight. But listen, hey. We've been battling a little bit, okay? I got a camera. I got a 360-degree camera up there in the attic now. I got some bright lights. Got a boom box with a Bluetooth box up there. I'll throw out some loud music and light for them to run them out. I caught one big old coon, took him up in the woods, but the fight continues because another one popped up night before last. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to get that hole sealed up, and we'll be pressing on.
You should have been videoing this whole thing,
I know.
It would have been some good footage for your show,
Well, yeah, especially with that other one, man. It was it filled the trap up. And
no kidding.
Yeah, when I let him loose, it walked a circle around or took a left out of the trap, walked around me and my buddy, and just kind of circled us. I was like, my gosh, what's this thing thinking? And he was big. It was a big cat, But anyway,
That's funny. He was circling you like a shark.
he really was. And
Yeah,
then he
he's gonna
slipped
come
off
get you.
into the woods, you know. I was
Yeah.
like, thank
So that's
goodness.
the kind of raccoon you need to make an example of right there. Just
Yeah.
get
That's
him out
kind of
there
what
so
I
the
think.
other raccoons can say, "Oh, don't go over there." No.
Yeah.
It would have been a good example too,
Yeah,
especially
yeah.
on video.
They got
Yeah.
Big Bubba. Bubba's gone. We out of here.
That's right. That's right. That's what it's starting to look like, truthfully. But
Oh,
yeah,
that's
we've been having
awesome.
fun with that.
That's good. Well, Red, let's kind of talk a little bit about your military service, if you don't mind, and we'll just go through like where you grew up, what drew you into the service, and then we'll just kind of walk through that, if you don't mind.
Okay, well, I'll just start with my dad was in the Navy. Okay, way
Okay.
back in the very early '60s.
Hmm.
Anyway, so as I was growing up, I had a father that had been in the Navy. He was also one of them Golden Gloves boxers, you know,
Oh,
and he did a
nice.
bunch of fighting while he was in active duty in the Navy. And anyway, I was impressed with it, right? The service, the Navy, growing up in Meridian, Mississippi, very patriotic. I don't know. You're pretty young, right? Let's say the TV used to go off at midnight every night.
Yeah,
You know,
I
so
remember that. Yeah.
Friday nights, I'd stay up late and get to watch the TV sign off. And then I would be right back awake Saturday morning with before the cartoons, they'd come on, play the Star Spangled Banner and all that
Hmm.
stuff. Me and my dad, we would stand at attention. And that's
Nice.
just kind of, we did that many Saturday mornings, many Friday
Hmm.
nights and Saturday mornings. And so I had a love for the military. Graduated high school. I grew up in Meridian, played a lot of golf. I do remember going to visit in Dallas, Texas one time, saw where John F. Kennedy had been assassinated there. And
Right.
then my uncle also drove us out. And I was a youngster. I mean, maybe 7, 8 years old. But we went
Hmm.
out to the airport, DFW, I guess it was. And man, these planes are taking off. My uncle was right. Man, watch every 30 seconds, every this and that, one will take off or one will come in. And I really watched it and kind of dug it, and
Yeah.
um, not that I saw any military type planes, but growing up, I'd see the Blue Angels at the Navy base in
Mm.
my hometown, which was
Yeah.
always cool. We had an Air National Guard base right in town also, where they had a lot of F-4s and stuff like that, and also some refueling aircraft
Oh,
being
wow.
the keys, I think, what Alan Fred Key or something like that, and they built the first some kind of thing that would refuel aircraft, you know,
Right.
air refueling, and so
Hmm.
that's where it began right there. So they got a bunch of refueling wing,
Yeah.
Air Force, and but I grew up and we had a Navy base there. Wasn't too crazy about the military folk, but after I got out of my house on my own, I lived in an apartment complex, me and my wife, and we had just
Yeah.
recently been married and dated for a while. But man, it seemed like these certain guys were always at the pool, They were
Yeah.
always at the pool or they're always ready to go play golf. It didn't seem like they ever worked. It was like, dang it, I want to be like them. Well, they were
Yeah.
all either they were might have been an instructor pilot or two for the Navy or Marines, but
Right.
there was several trainee pilots,
Hmm.
pilots in training for the Navy. And the other guys I found out were air traffic controllers. I knew I wasn't going to be a pilot, it just wasn't happening, I just didn't have that in me, But these other guys, man, they were all, like I said, they were always around the pool playing golf, and
Yeah.
some of them were FAA, some of them were Navy controllers. And I got to talking to them, and they said, I found out what they were. So how do I get into that? And they said, well, don't go to the Navy recruiter, for one thing. You can't go straight to the FAA. They said, how about try the Air Force, So then
Yeah.
one day I went down to the Air Force recruiting station and said, hey, look, I want to be an air traffic controller.
Yeah.
They talked to me a little bit and all, and ended up taking a test. And they said it, can't do that. I mean, you could be one, but you have to wait a long time.
Yeah.
What we got another job for you, and it might even be air traffic control, but you just go to basic training, and we can have you out of here in a week or 2 weeks. I didn't go for it.
Yeah.
They
I
called
don't
me
blame
back.
you.
They said delayed enlistment. We'll give you delayed enlistment. I said air traffic control guarantee. Okay, I'll take it. So That's how
Very
I
nice.
made that's how the trip to Lackland Air Force Base started for me.
Okay, yeah, nice. Well, tell us about going to Lackland Air Force Base, and your dad being in the Navy. Now you're going over to the Air Force side. How did that all go down?
Well, I talked to my dad. I talked to another guy that had been in the Navy and an uncle that had been in the Army.
Hmm.
And just talking to all those, is kind of how I really started leaning towards the Air Force and, of course, my buddies at the apartment complex, right?
Yeah.
And, of course, I did finally go with the Air Force. And that, hey, just let's see, my dad has two brothers. They both served. One was a Marine helicopter pilot, and his whole duty nearby was over in Vietnam. It was in
Oh,
the late
wow.
60s. He was one of those rescue helicopter pilots,
Right.
which, man, I've had his name brought up by a couple different people through the
Hmm.
years when they found out my last name, and they
Yeah.
said he picked me up from the jungle,
No kidding. Wow.
and I passed the names on to him,
Hmm.
and it's pretty amazing when you hear I'm
Yeah.
Air Force. I ain't doing none of that. But hey, look, ran into these people, had the right last name, and they remembered the pilot,
Yeah.
and so it was a big deal. It was a big deal.
Absolutely.
But no, I went in the Air Force. They were all happy for me. I'll also mention that my grandfather had 6 brothers and 2 sisters. All 7 brothers were in the military.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, they were in the latter part of World War II. And every one of them was in the service at the exact same time.
Wow.
All of them came home. All came home. All
Nice.
made it home, which is
Yeah.
pretty amazing. So I do come from a military family, if you
Yeah.
will. So even on my mother's side, she had some uncles over there that were in the military. But anyway, I went the Air Force route, went to Lackland. We had that short basic training, only lasted us about 6 weeks.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, the amazing thing and one of the biggest things I remember about that place is going and them lining us up at night, with our bags next to us. And then, everything was okay. It's just like stand there and be quiet to begin with. Then they
Right.
started teaching us how to be in a actual formation, and we
Hmm.
had us picking up luggage, dropping them, pick them up, drop them, pick them up, put them down, pick them up, put them down. Then that daggum T.I., he was wanting to know who the comedian in the group was. Said he had a funny guy in the group. That
Uh-oh.
didn't mean nothing to me. And nobody would respond to him. He'd get chapped. He'd stay, pick them up, put them down. He'd fuss some more, go around. What's your name? What's your name? Then finally said, "Where's Skelton?" And I'm like, that's my last
Uh-oh.
name. So I'm Red Skelton. I'm your funny guy. So anyway,
Yeah.
he got over there and he had a lot of fun with me. "You're a funny guy, aren't you?" I said, "No, sir." I said, "Yes, sir. Okay, whatever. Anything you say, sir."
Yeah.
He taught us how to all say airman such and such, reports as ordered, all that type stuff during that uh, little short period that seemed
Yeah.
like hours to me. But he made me the fire monitor for the group. So, and I was the
Okay.
mail carrier and making sure the trash was taken out at the very end of the night. That was my only detail I had to worry about the whole time in basic training.
Very nice.
I was his buddy. But
Yeah.
and I got the name Red Skelton. That's when people started calling me Red. Before that, everybody called me Kent or Skint because a lot of times I had my hair cut pretty short. They called
Oh,
me
yeah.
Skint Kent. And anyway, but Red Skelton was born there on the first day at basic training for me.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's kind of stayed with me throughout the military. But I
Yeah. Well,
left.
I mean,
I went to
you
I
still
went to
got it.
basic. Yeah, I went to basic San Antonio, Texas. Got out of there, graduated. Then I went on to Keesler Air Force Base in Biloxi, Mississippi,
Okay.
and it was my first, real station. I was there for 4 months. Went through
Hmm.
air traffic control school, and which was a challenge for old boy like myself, from a small town, and all I knew a lot about was golf, church, and hunting and fishing. That was
Yeah.
about it. Nothing else really mattered. It didn't seem like.
That's right. Yeah. 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 That makes sense.
But I sure got there, and they taught me to be an air traffic controller. And 4 months, like I said, graduated on April Fool's Day, 1987. I
Well,
didn't
you
even
weren't.
believe them. I thought they were joking.
Yeah.
All I knew, my final test was the day before, and graduated on April Fool's Day. But they gave me a picture, took pictures of us, a diploma, and sent me off to Eglin Air Force Base, Florida, to work
Okay.
air traffic control, to what I would find to be one of the most busiest and definite most complex airspaces in the free world.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's being an air traffic controller in general is not an easy task. There's a lot of weight on your shoulders, a lot of stress. I imagine those guys that you saw at the pool, they
Yeah.
were trying to blow off steam because they had so much responsibility on their shoulders
Hey, I
before.
didn't mention it to begin with. It seemed like they always had a beer in their hand or
Yeah.
or VO 7 and 7 VO and something or scotch and
Yeah.
water constantly. I'm like, hey, these dudes are cool. Hey, they got it made. But anyway, so then my drinking deals days started at that point. Believe me,
Yeah.
after I got
Yeah.
there, and I already drank a little bit, but that didn't help my situation any becoming an air traffic controller.
Yeah. A lot of stress. Well, tell us a little bit about your experience doing that while you were there.
Oh wow! Well, even at Eglin, was the training was long. There's a high washout. There's a high washout rate when you go through the schoolhouse, actually. But when you get out in the field, you'll see even more dropout, and
Wow.
some because they just find, hey, you can't handle it. There'll be
Hmm.
quite a few that's just like basically refuse to do it. I cannot do this. I can't do it.
Yeah.
Just they're afraid of it. And then there's others that were like, wow, I think I could do this like myself. I think I could do this.
Yeah.
And we learned how to do it. I'm still friends with a lot of guys I went through training with at Keesler and at Eglin. Several of us ended up at Eglin together.
Yeah.
And yeah, we went through rose up through the ranks together and stuff like that. But the training was intense, but
Hmm.
finally got it. Took a little while, but finally got through the training. And man, became a full-fledged air traffic controller, and started training others before you could blink
Yeah.
an eye. I was training others.
I
And,
love it. Now, what is the work schedule for air traffic controller down there?
well, at this time in my career, we would go to work 2 days from 7 in the morning till 3 in the afternoon. We'd
Hmm.
get there about 15 minutes early if you was doing right, quarter to 7, because that's what time our briefing started. I would
Yeah.
say we were just like any other service. We did our PT at 4:30 or 5 o'clock prior to going
Mhm.
to work, but we didn't have to do that. I was in the Air Force. We just showed up at quarter to 7. We just showed up quarter to 7. Anyway, we worked
Yeah.
2 days, 7 to 3, and then 2 days from 3 to 11. So that
Oh, I
2 day
see.
shifts, 2 swing shifts. And from the crews, rated bodies, certified controllers, 3 of us would stay behind. 3 people would work the mid shift for 11 to 7 because it was a 24/7 facility,
Yeah.
24-hour
Oh, wow.
facility.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we would drop 3 back for the mid shift. And that's just basically the way it went the whole time I was at Eglin, you
Yeah.
know.
So was
And
it like you work 7 days a week type of deal, or were you
no, no,
doing
no,
like six
no. We would
days?
work the 2 days and the 2 swings, then we'd be off 2 days.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
And so, so you'd put in 40 hours a week,
Hmm.
but or every 7 days, let's say that.
Yeah.
You'd have the
Yeah,
fifth
that
and
makes
sixth
sense.
day off,
Yeah.
and just rotate throughout till you leave there. And I was there that was the best thing for me because I got trained in a difficult place, one of the toughest, one of the hardest.
Hmm.
You really don't make it there if you're not going to make it, in air traffic
Yeah.
control for sure. And, but I stayed there until 93, from 87 until 93.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And, that was, re-enlisted and then,
Hmm.
took off and went to the Azores, Lodges Field Azores, from one of the
Where?
busiest facilities to one of the slowest facilities. Uh,
Very nice. Well, so talk about that transition, going from the busiest to now the one of the slowest.
that was a pretty big deal. And there's big deal for more reasons than one. One thing I went over there, and it was going to be for a 2-year tour. Right, you could go
Yeah.
remote, I believe it was 12. I believe at the time it was 15 months without your family. But if you'd stay 24 months, you could take your family with you.
Right.
So, and it's a short tour, you know. So
Mhm.
I did take my family with me. They didn't go over immediately. I had to go over secure housing, and then they brought them
Right.
over a month and a half, 2 months later after I got there. But
Okay.
man, going to there, as far as the job, it really wasn't nothing to it, except had a different runways, you know.
Mm.
Now it does change at every field you go to because you have different field elevations
Yeah.
and, you know, different surroundings and everything else. Well, I'm just on an island, you know, the surroundings is water. And of course, it had a high peak. I was at a field elevation probably of 70 or 90 feet there at Eglin. And we're over here, you know, it's heck, the field elevation is not that high, but the peaks beside it, you know, 1,000 feet on one side and up to
Oh my God.
4,400 feet on the left side, you know, so it's a whole different type of ball game there, you know, which took
Yeah.
a little learning. But the biggest thing was I went from not only controlling in the United States, in America, with all English speaking people. I went to,
Yeah.
it was Portugal, it's Lajesfield, Portugal. So that's kind of even with Lisbon, Portugal, and Washington, D.C. If you were to ride around the globe from there,
All right.
you know, it'd
Yeah.
be like on the same line,
Yeah.
except you're out in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. And
Wow.
we actually, it wasn't just American controllers, it was American and Portuguese controllers. So we
Right.
had members of both their Air Force and our Air Force all work in the facilities at the same time,
Mhm.
and you'd have to have one of each nationality, at least one of each nationality, in the facility at all times.
Yeah.
It was also a 24-hour facility. They had a radar approach control and a
Mhm.
tower,
Oh,
and
okay.
the tower was strictly ruled by ICAO, you know, the International Civil
Mhm.
Aviation Organization rules, and the RAPCON. Well, we kind of abided with both. You know, we
Mhm.
used FAA type rules and ICAO.
Gotcha.
So I was radar. I'd always been radar up until this point, and so it's pretty neat. That's a pretty big change. Plus controlling traffic. You know, beautiful Florida weather, Fort Walton Beach, Destin area. You know, you have some nice weather. Have thunderstorms pop in, right? But
Yeah.
man, over in the Azores, you can near about have four. You didn't really have snow, but you could almost have 4 seasons in one day, and that's
Oh my
pretty
word.
much year round.
Yeah.
And you didn't have little trade winds, 15-mile-per-hour winds, 5-mile-per-hour winds. You had more like 45-mile-per-hour winds, gusting to 65, gusting to 70.
Oh
You
my
know, and
God.
we didn't even have to wear a hat half the time. You know,
Yeah. No kidding.
but so controlling traffic was a big deal, and the craziest thing I'll say, I mentioned the 2 days, 2 swings, 2 days off. You know, at
Yeah.
Eglin in the Azores, we worked. When I first got there, the first shift you went to was 12:30 in the morning.
Hmm.
You'd go in at 12:30 and you'd work till 6:30 in the morning. Then a group would come in and work from 6:30 to 12:30
Okay.
noon. They
Yeah.
and then 12:30 to 7:30, then from 7:30 to midnight 30.
Oh
And
wow.
so you'd work 4 shifts in 3 days. And
Okay.
then once you got off that noon 30 shift, you'd
Mhm.
have the rest of that day off. The next night at midnight, you'd be back.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You would actually see yourself coming to and from work almost. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you would swear you were
Yeah.
seeing yourself. You know, it was
Yeah.
like, am I supposed to be leaving now or coming in? What the heck am I supposed to? What's the deal? You know?
Yeah.
A cool thing was too, though, it stayed daylight over there to near about 10 o'clock at night. I'm a golfer. I played
No
golf
kidding.
almost every day that I was in the Azores for 3 years. So
Wow.
on the side of a mountain,
Yeah. I bet you
it's
got
some
pretty
crazy
good.
winds.
Yeah.
We could hit
You
some
got
shots. I tell you what, the Portuguese guys, man, they're no slouches on the golf course. Boy, they knew what
Yeah.
they were doing. They were raised up, you know, the ones that were there at the course, they were
Right.
raised up around the course. They caddied and they grew up,
Mhm.
got jobs and stuff like that. But it was a
Yeah.
great opportunity to meet meet some important people from around the island because it's
Yeah.
not that big of an island. It's only I think 7 miles wide, 10 to 12 miles long, something like that.
So it's kind of like Okinawa is about like that, if
Maybe, and
I'm
that's
not
where
mistaken.
Cadena's
Yeah.
at, right? Cadena,
Yeah,
I don't,
it is. Yeah.
yeah, maybe so. It's not too big. Of course, there's about 4 or 5, I think 5 main islands in their archipelago or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
So we'd have mostly military planes, really, that were, as a pit stop, gas stop, as they were going across the
Right.
Atlantic. They had Air Portugal there and air carriers, and then they had small island lines that went island to island.
Oh,
So
okay.
and then they had Puma helicopters from their military that they flew around a lot,
Nice. Yeah,
So
yeah.
it was a good assignment. It was a good assignment, really was.
So,
And then let me just throw this in here right now, because
yeah.
I did stay there for 3 years. I stopped drinking while I was there in
Okay.
'94. I had to. It was no choice. It was just like me in the Air Force, the good Lord above, my family. And the alcohol wasn't going to mix together. Something had to
Oh,
go.
yeah.
So was the alcohol. We said bye to it. And then when I sobered up, I realized they extended for an extra year. So I was actually there 3 years instead of 2, and which
Nice.
was cool though, because I island hopped consecutive overseas tours. Okay, from the Azores out in the Atlantic to Oahu in Hawaii, Hickam Air Force Base. And
Yeah.
hey, I was one of the number ones on the list to come back.
Yeah.
Priorities. I got a consecutive overseas tour.
Very
And went to
nice.
Hawaii, special duty assignment for 3 years.
Okay, man, that's a good deal right there.
You betcha, man. Island life, baby, the island life.
Yeah,
So
you were living it up.
yeah, it was
Hey,
really good.
I got a quick question. Now, air traffic controlling around the world, they speak, it's all English, right?
Primarily English.
Yeah.
That's the most received language, right?
Yeah.
Now, there were times in even when we were there in the Azores, you'd have to pop in every once in a while, speak English,
Yeah.
because we got to be able to hear, we
Yeah.
didn't
Yeah.
have to
Yeah.
know Portuguese. All the Portuguese folks had to know English.
Right.
And it was the same way when I was over in the Southwest Asia,
Yeah.
of course, too. Just there for a little while. And it was very, very important there that everybody spoke English.
Right. Yeah.
We
Yeah.
couldn't
Yeah,
play
for
none of
sure.
that foreign language stuff.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
but
Well, tell
Hawaii
me,
was great.
yeah, tell me about your experience in Hawaii. How much surfing did you actually do? Because we all know everybody at Hawaii, all you do is surf.
Boy,
So,
hey, if I wasn't hula dancing, I was hanging 10, boy. You should have seen. No, I wasn't hanging 10. I was scoring 10. I was golfer over there too, and
yeah, okay.
score. Hey, have a 10 on a par 4 or par 3. It'd be in the ocean. But
Yeah.
no, I did. We
Oh,
had
that's fun.
beautiful golf courses. We talked about the schedule. I was actually doing a special duty assignment there at Hickam, and had to
Okay.
do with air traffic control. But basically, I was doing airspace reservations, and
Oh, okay.
what that
Yeah.
was planning. I was in on the planning of flights, and I would find out what flights the aircraft wanted to fly. I would coordinate for that airspace within each country's airspace,
Oh,
that
I
they were going
see.
to be flying through.
Right.
And so I coordinated, man, I don't know how many different countries we coordinated with, but it was a bunch, because if they wasn't
Yeah.
doing it in the US or over in Europe, it was called PACMARF is where I was at. I was
Hmm.
headquarters PACAF, but man, we coordinate with them constantly.
Yeah.
And look, we got what we wanted. I mean, it was the United States military, right? Air Force.
Yeah.
It could have been Army planes, could have been Marine planes, but the big thing was it was American military planes. We'd coordinate for their safe passage, and if they couldn't get us to us, we'd let them know that we're going to be flying due regard. And we're going to be there. Don't mess with it. That's where we're at. Don't be
Yeah.
surprised, but we'll be here at this time. We'll leave at that time, so.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Wow.
generally you'd have approval. There were some countries that could not approve it just because, the relation might be a communist country or something like that.
Oh, right.
Or not friendly, like Vietnam, something like that,
Yeah.
and it's not like you really talk to them on a regular. if you talk to anybody like that, it was usually in a big emergency, you know.
Oh, I see.
In
Yeah.
certain countries. But yeah, that was the main job there. But boy, we had a schedule there. I worked 2 days from 7 to 3.
Yeah.
2 days from 3 at night or 3 in the afternoon to 11. So 2 days, 2 swings. I don't even know if I say this, but then we would stand by for 2 nights on a mid shift.
Yeah.
With the phones forwarded to our homes, DSN lines at our house, you know, forwarded.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And we would have 2 days off. And anyway, I played a lot of golf and I sailed, and you know,
Yeah.
it wasn't always like that. We were working 12-hour shifts, 6 and 1, 6 days on, 1 off for about a year and a half. It ended at that other schedule, which was wow, it's beautiful, you know. But we were short. We were short people, so we really had to do that. You know?
Yeah.
You know, you didn't have anybody for any type of relief, so it really helped us out a lot, and we did a lot. You know.
Yeah. Well, they can't have you having too much fun over there. They're gonna have to, you know, they gotta rein it in a little bit. And,
hey, and listen, I will tell you,
make it difficult.
I will tell you though, on those mid shifts, the times when you'd have the phone at your house,
yeah,
you'd almost be as busy those nights as the other nights were. I mean, the other shifts were, except it'd be something completely different because the FAA would be calling to you know, like at 5 o'clock in the morning, something like that, 4 o'clock in the morning, say, hey, we're opening up. And we'd get a call, you know, right after we started the shift, 11:30, 12 o'clock, and somebody from the Philippines would be calling, hey, you know, the score for the LA Lakers and Seattle Supersonics game. You know, it's like, oh my gosh, you know, that was the 2 calls you got near about daily, you know.
Yeah. That's pretty wild.
Yeah. So that's what a flight coordinator did. I get it.
Yeah.
Right.
Relayed the basketball scores.
Andrew's well familiar with that, and I dealt with it too in the Marine Corps with our having to request flights and stuff like that. And they're like, you know, we always got some kind of feedback, and now I understand.
Yeah.
Now I understand why you were too busy giving basketball scores and baseball scores and
now that was over there, you know, the Pacific Theater. Wasn't in the US, wasn't the FAA doing it, and wasn't the folks over it. I think they called it UCAR in Europe. But yeah, we were some of those folks. We were tied right up there with the supply folks and everybody else right there together, you know.
Who did we go through, Andrew? What was it? JOSAC?
JOSAC is what it became. I don't know.
Yeah.
But joint, what is that? Joint
operations, probably something.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. But yeah, it became, once it became joint operations and they had control of all the aircraft, it became much more difficult to get a flight.
It was almost impossible.
Yeah, our deal worked pretty good. I mean, basically, they said they were going to fly, and basically, we just found out, you know, what route they wanted to fly, and we would give the best route to fly, and then, you know, give the permission or get all the approvals, you know, so it's all taken care of, you know.
Yeah, you were doing the legwork behind the scenes there.
Right.
Yeah, I like it.
All I picture is Red sitting there with the cell phone up against his ear while he's trying to tee off. And he's like, hold on a second.
You were in this special, you were like OSI. What were you? I was under investigation, obviously.
Yeah, you didn't know.
That was almost a perfect scenario. I was like, what?
Yeah. All of a sudden he's like, hey, hold on a second. Hold this.
I love it.
Boy, I tell you what, though, Hawaii, if for military folks, retirees, people who's been in the military, if they haven't ever visited Hawaii and they have access to the military installations, they need to try to get over there at least one time, especially if they're golfers, because wow, between the Army, Marines, the Navy, and the Air Force, there's some beautiful courses, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And golly, I loved being over there. And it was really awesome. I actually had a part-time job at Mamala Bay Golf Course, worked in the pro shop there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it was a great deal, great fringe benefits, you know, because I get to play golf and You know, even go to Kauai or the Big Island, these other islands, and still all I do is just pay for our golf carts. You know,
Yeah.
and it was a beautiful
Wow.
thing. Yeah.
Man, you can't complain about that. Holy moly.
Negatory. But I did do some time on the water over there. I had a sailboat. It was a 23-foot Catalina, and I had
Okay.
it had it in a slip over at the Pearl Harbor Yacht Club.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and this little 23-foot boat, it was the smallest sailboat in their whole club. You know, all the other ones were big boats, had a high, tall mast. Mine was a short mast. There's a Ford Island, you know, is the island that's out there in Pearl Harbor, and I think I was the only sailboat that could actually get permission to go that section of the passage by the USS Arizona and under the Ford Island Bridge, because nobody else could make it under there. They couldn't clear it. And so I get the harbor master, and they let me go through there, and which was really cool. You know, it was cool. It was that was great. So if I wasn't golfing, I was sailing, and we were living it up, you know. And then I had to go to work sometimes. I did have to work, you know.
Well, you know, work always gets in the way.
Yeah, it's overrated anyway. But I mean,
true statement.
You know.
Oh, I like it. Now you said what, 3 years there?
Yeah, another 3 years there, and now I was playing so much golf while I was there. I actually got deployed over to Southwest Asia. Went to the desert there during the mid-90s, and
okay.
They let me try to play the big sand trap, you know. And
yeah.
Went over there. Of course, we had Saudi Arabian controllers, had French controllers, and some other controllers that we were. Well, actually, the French that was more of a liaison type thing. The French,
okay,
and some other country too, but the Saudi Arabians and us, we were both, you know, controlling traffic together.
I got you.
Tower and radar, and over there 7 or 8 months, you know, that was it. And that was where I was talking about complete English. No, we're speaking English facility. And that's it.
Yeah.
And
wow.
But anyway,
now, what was that experience like for you being over there?
It was, I tell you what, it was awful different. You know, I lived in a tent there for 7 months, you know, and sometimes the AC worked, sometimes the AC didn't. And you hoped it worked during the daytime, as it was 125 degrees during the daytime, near about every day. And the nights, I mean, you know, you know how the night can be over there. I mean, it cooled down to 101, 103. And you didn't have that sun beating down on you. It was quite comfortable.
Yeah. It almost seems like it's a snowstorm hitting you, you know, with that type of drastic changes.
It did rain one time while I was there. And it was a very short time. You could just smell it. You know how you get that fresh rain? You could smell it. And but that was it. And that was really, it was actually felt like a cold rain. It felt like a cold shower.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
nice.
It really did. I mean, but
yeah.
The rest of the time it was blistering hot, and several of those. I can't remember what they call the sandstorms. Habu or something like something. I don't know.
I have no idea.
Daggone sandstorms they wasn't no joke. They ain't no joke. I was out in 2 of them. Oh my gosh. I was in 2 of them. And one of them, no kidding, one of them, it lasted for a while. I had my goggles and everything, but I was just down on the ground with my head down, you know, and it's not like you could see a foot in front of you. You couldn't see nothing. It's like the biggest, I don't know. I guess I have to compare it to a pilot being in the, you know, thick clouds and rain and not being able to see. It's just complete, you know, zero visibility, you know. So
we had one in Iraq in 2003 when we were over there, and it just shut everything down. There's no ifs.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, the sad thing is the gear we had in 2003 compared to the gear you had during the Gulf War was completely different, you know, and it's now the gear they have compared to what we have is completely different.
Right.
Yeah.
But, you know, it was literally, you know, we were still using those same old goggles, you know, but, you know, the Marine Corps, I don't know if the Army was doing this or not, but the Marine Corps finally wised up, and, you know, we had like neck gaiters, like we all got issued, and, you know, everybody's got the damn neck gaiter pulled up, but you're literally hunkered down, and it's blowing so bad you can't see, not even 3 feet in front of your
You
face.
can't.
But
and it burns when it hits you.
absolutely, and that's where we were at. And I'd have to go back, and I've got little memo pads. I would sit and take notes and write, daily stuff down. And I can't remember specifically where it was, but I mean, it's a damn desert. But it rains. It was so windy, and then it just poured for like 18 hours, and
Oh
it
my
was
gosh.
soup up to almost up to your knees trying to get through it. But after a couple days, you start looking down, and you're like, why the hell did that hurt so bad? It's just sand, but it was blowing super hard. But you started looking at the sand, and there's little tiny seashells in it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And they actually have points on them. They're pointed. They're pointed. They're sharp little edges.
Banging off of you, slapping off the side of your head, the back of your neck, your face, but
and a lot of it would end up inside your t-shirt, in your drawers and everything else.
Yeah, it's like how did I get a seashell in the bottom underneath my heel in my boot when it's like. I understand exactly what you're saying, because that was probably one of the most miserable times I've ever experienced in life.
Yeah. I hadn't thought. I just now thought of, while we were talking. I was like, "Oh yeah, the sandstorms." It's like,
yeah,
it's weather. I mean,
it was like you're on Mars. It was just like Mars. It was like Armageddon. There was
weird, isn't it?
The
it's
sun.
Really weird.
Literally talking like 11, 12 o'clock in the afternoon, and it was so eerie and dark that it's it looked like something you'd see off what's that movie Dune. It's like all of a sudden it just turned from yellow to red to orange to just there's no sun. I mean, you couldn't see crap. We ran out there. We're dropping guys out for put up gun positions, and it's like it got to the point. It's like just freaking stay here, don't move. Hell, we didn't even know where the hell we dropped them at, on a perimeter. And it's like, just stay here. We're like, would you put the gun up if you can? Like.
I was glad they had that one is American Sniper, where they show that sandstorm when he's they're in that one building there towards the end.
Yeah.
And that's for real. That's I don't know. It's there. It's that, and you can't discount it. It's gonna happen if you're over there definitely for long enough. And,
that's true.
But
wow.
Anyway, hey, after that assignment, I got back to the real sand. I got out of the big sandbox, went back to Hawaii, and just for a short time, and then I ended up at my Keesler Air Force Base. Instructing, teaching air traffic control.
Oh, nice.
And what a great assignment. It really was. Now we worked regular schedule, either was straight days or straight, they had the different shifts for training. But most of the time the pipeline had a lot of students coming through it. So we were pretty busy on a regular basis. But it was really fun giving back to some of those students, what you had learned.
Yeah.
And seeing them right fresh in the military, and everything's new to them, and then especially when you start talking about our career field, it was new. And I did that for 4 years, and then ended up going up to Offutt Air Force Base and my first real joint assignment was it was U.S. Stratcom, but we had all the services there, it was just 18 months that I was up there. And, and then I retired up there, and I was doing a lot of it was special duty, but it was assignments and that type stuff. Officer assignments is what I was handling.
I see.
For the Air Force, but I'd be doing it right along with all the other services. And then we were doing I was part of the, where they were going all to the oh my gosh, now I can't. All these new acronyms they were using for the joint type things, shoot. I'm trying to think of what was maybe AOC or JOJ.
Yeah,
don't
I
know. I
can't.
can't even remember all the
I can't.
words, not all the different ones. ISS, and anyway, it was pretty it's a pretty big deal, to be involved with that and
Yeah.
helping crunch the numbers and going through who got, which all the positions and everything. It was almost complete rewrite, for the military, putting it all together in one.
Yeah.
And it's pretty neat experience. Then
Yeah,
after
that's
that, I
really cool.
retired, and then I came back to Keesler Air Force Base and did a civil service for 7 years, teaching air traffic control as a
Oh, no
civilian.
kidding.
Yeah, and
Wow.
still in Biloxi, and
Yeah.
here we are.
Yeah. Well,
So
now when you retired, that was 20 years? You did 20?
I did 20 years. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. And then here lately now you've been doing other things,
Yes, I
like
have.
being on the military broadcast radio.
Yes.
You have your business, was it Fairway
Fairway
Travels?
Travel. Fairway Travel. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. What are there's some other things. What am I missing? Yeah. You had
Well,
that, the travel.
I'd have a Fairway Travel, my wife and I, that's our travel agency, our business we run from home.
Yeah.
I do military broadcast radio as a volunteer, which I really want to talk about that just a little bit
Yeah.
because it's a great thing. It's giving veterans a voice. And then I lead a Celebrate Recovery group at our church. And
Yeah, that's the other thing I was
it's a
thinking. Yeah.
faith-based 12-step recovery program, but not just for the addict or alcoholic. It's for anybody with any type of hurt, habit, or hang up. And me being Christian, and it's really for everybody, because everybody's got something, or they have someone that's facing something. Of
Yeah.
course, so we do that, and my wife is involved with that too. And it's a great ministry that they do from our church. It started out in California back in the 90s.
Okay.
We're fortunate to be a part of it. My podcast I do on military broadcast radio actually has to do with the recovery. It's called Freedom from Struggle at Red's Roundtable. And we do that every Saturday at 3:00. And it's on YouTube, military broadcast radio, and most all the platforms like you are, with your show. And but military broadcast radio, I'm part of that. And man, it is a big thing. And I just want to share with you, but it's a beacon of entertainment, information. And I am reading this, it's not right off the top of my head, but it says unwavering support for the military community. Okay. But it's also for the civilians. Okay. But with a proud history, they've been around over 14 years. They've been a voice and an ear for those who serve. It was initially led by this guy named Jim Butler that founded it. And now we got a great guy named Joel Hunt. And he's been running it really since 2018. But their vision is to be an ambitious and become the pioneering nonprofit internet radio station offering solace and support to disabled veterans struggling to adapt to civilian life. And it's big, it's a big deal. I mean, you're doing the show. Mike, you're part of it. Some of this type stuff, there's work to it, but a lot of it's really therapeutic for a lot of folks. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of folks can't do anything, but about the only thing they can do really, is stay around the house, but they get in front of a microphone, give veterans a voice. It's pretty neat, whether you're DJing and running the music, or you're on the podcast side of the house,
Yeah.
And MBR has even just started a gaming channel, they got their own gaming channel too. So we got radio, talk shows, and gaming, which is pretty darn neat,
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty neat.
Now, if people want to listen to it, right? Where do they go? Is it MBR or military broadcast radio dot something?
Yeah, they got military broadcast radio. You can find it on Facebook real easy. They've got a military broadcast app you can find on your Android or iPhones. And on there, it's got all the links to the schedules. It also, and I will say it's because it is a nonprofit, right? It's got places where people can actually donate or help sponsor, a podcast or a host or just any person, the station in general. And it's really cool, but it's turning a lot of veterans' dreams into realities and helping with their healing and giving people a sense of purpose, just like on my Saturday show, man, that's a great way for me to continue to serve, to other veterans, to families, and actually to anybody in the audience that has any type of hurt, habit, or hang up, just to be able to share with them, And is it for everybody? Well, yes, it is for everybody. Will everybody be interested in it? No. Some people aren't ready yet. Some people will never, participate in something like that or listen to it. Not that it'd help them. I mean, I'm pretty sure, I know. I mean, but anyway, it does give me a chance to give back a little bit. And the cool thing with this podcasting and recording, man, it's out there. It's out there. It's in the library, man. All somebody's got to do is take it off the shelf or pick it up somewhere, run across it. And if one person, if like even one other veteran gets something from this show, or one family member of a lost veteran gets something from this show, just knowing how we talk together and, the little camaraderie there. We don't even know each other, it's an amazing thing. And so if one person gets anything out of it, it's worth it.
Absolutely.
That's the way I see it,
And so, now the military broadcast radio can host, or you can become a host, whether it be on the radio side or podcast side. How do they do that?
If you have any interest at all, just you get on MBR, Military Broadcast Radio, and just contact them or comment in one of their shows they got and say, hey, I want to be a part of this. Tell me more. And I guarantee you somebody's going to be willing to share with you. But it's basically free to come in and just learn how to podcast. It gives you a platform to do it, much like we're doing right here, and you don't have to. I've got a microphone, but the only camera, I'm using the camera straight from my laptop, and as you know, too, we could be doing it from our phones. It's a little better when you're using a computer, something that's stationary, but, and they teach you how to do all this. So, man, a year and 3 months ago, I had I knew what I wanted to do with my travel stuff, sharing some stuff about recovery, but I had no idea how to do it. And I ran across this article in the VA newspaper or the VA newsletter. And it was on the front of their webpage talking about military broadcast radio, become a host, or become a DJ. I'm like, man, let me check that out. And I did, and hey, now I'm part of it, and it's been good for me. I've seen a lot of other people it's done well for, and it's just a neat thing, and everybody's got a story.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I try to tell that to everybody. Everybody has a story, and it needs to be documented.
Exactly, it really does.
Yeah.
It really does.
So I reached out to MBR whenever. I guess I was fairly new to the podcasting world at that point, but I reached out, and they're super friendly. Gentleman reached back and was like, "Hey, let's have a on-screen or a Zoom? Have a Zoom meeting or whatever." So we set that up. Super easy. And then he just started walking through. Hey, these are the things that we would need to do. There's this, there's that, and started talking about it. But I had already had mine going already, so I was like, I'll let somebody else do that because they don't have it going yet. But I mean, it seems like a good deal.
It is. It's really awesome. And even for yourself, if you wanted to, it's still there for you. And the reason I say it is you already know what you're doing, but you still guarantee you, each of us, I can learn something from you. You can learn something from me, from this guy that's with MBR, Joel Hunt, H-Train, as he's referred to on the radio. He knows the stuff, and he cares about other veterans is a huge thing. And he gives a ton of his time and his knowledge to everybody else. And there's all kind of the reason I say there's vacant times. There's times available. We need shows. You know what I mean? I think we have probably between 30 and 40. I'll say between 30 and 45 active hosts right now. And, that doesn't cover 24/7. That don't cover the daytime hours 7 days a week. So I would suggest anybody that's interested in podcasting, whether you got a show or not, get in contact with the MBR. Like I said, heck, you can email me. I'm Red, RED, at mbradio.us. And heck, I'll hook you up, get you the right appointment with the staff, and put you right in. And it's for anybody, regardless of your knowledge level. just a matter of wanting to. We're not about. We always like to say we're giving veterans a voice for one thing, and the
Yeah.
second thing, it's not about making money. It's helping vets.
Yeah.
And and that helping. When I say helping vets, like on my show is not just for vets. It's very, very in line for vets, but it's for anybody and everybody. Same way with the music that DJs play. It's for everybody. That doesn't just appeal to the Marine retiree or the Army guy that did one hitch. It's for everybody. And
and it's good
anyway,
for good for people to hear. When you're talking about the podcast, hear everybody's stories, and it kind of shows them this is what some of the military guys went through. So all the way around, I think it's a good deal.
Oh, I've heard so many stories that I just wouldn't have. I mean, regardless of where you've been, even you still hear somebody else's story, even in the same place, the same time. One person's view can be a whole lot different from the next person, because one guy was looking to the north, others looking to the south. Or I mean, life's different for everybody. Situations are different for everybody. Things affect all of us differently. And it's just huge for us to be able to share. And like you said, get those stories out and get it documented, get things out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think back to my dad, he was a Korean War vet, Marine vet, but I don't really have all his story. I know bits and pieces, usually the funny things that happened to him. But I don't really know, everywhere he went, everything that he did and stuff like that. And I wish I had it. I wish I would have sat down with him a long time ago and done it. And, that's why I started doing podcasting. I was like, might as well record people and that's what I've been doing. And luckily through this adventure, I found people like you that are doing the same type of deal, so I don't know. I think it's a great deal, and we should get everybody to do it.
It is amazing. It is amazing. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm guessing, Mike, you got a show or that y'all hosting this together, or?
Yeah.
I don't have a show. I'm just
he's part of this show.
Okay. Right. So y'all are here co-hosting together, basically.
We get to tag along with Andrew, and
I like it.
Yeah. So on the FireSide chats, the FireSide chats I have, what is there, 4 of us now that gets on? 5 including me, I guess. On the regular, and then of course on Thursdays, which is the one that you're on now. Mike is usually here. The others, hit or miss. Sometimes they're here for this one. But I mean it works out really good, and they just come on and keep me in line, really.
Right. That's right. It's always great to have somebody else online with you. I've done shows by myself, and it's really good to have another live body there. Hey, look, I'm going to share with you real quick. Just it's one of our things we do. Maybe I'll share it. I don't know. Maybe
there it is.
Anyway, our little ducks. We got our MBR ducks. And people even got their action figures now. And I'm always proud of this. I got my military broadcast radio host.
Nice.
And they give you this type stuff. After you've been there and maybe done a certain number of podcasts or been there a certain number of days or months, which is pretty neat, and anyway, it's another great way to, they help people out with scholarship, with equipment and things like that, is that they need to actually run a podcast and to be for real, to be the real deal. And, anyway, we're proud of what we're doing.
One of the things that you were mentioning earlier is you don't have to have all this fancy equipment and all that type of stuff. I've got these little earpieces. They're not the AirPods, but they're same type of deal.
Right.
It's got a little mic on it, and and then the camera on my. I was doing it on my iPad. I just got this laptop, so but it's super simple. I just use the camera there. So for people that are out there that might want to start a podcast, hey, it's not as difficult as
it is
everyone
not.
thinks.
It's a matter of having that phone in front of you, having something to say, and pressing the record button is basically all it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
there's a little bit of behind the scenes stuff, but not much.
It is.
But
go ahead.
You
Mike.
were saying, like you could reach out to them and they, could talk you through it and tell you what you need to do. I mean, as part of that, like training at that point.
Yeah,
Like
I mean,
how
they
how
give
to
you,
market your podcast.
man,
And
they
I
give you
mean,
training. Yes,
yeah,
I mean, it's really how to make it more effective. We even have the I believe it's the Colorado Media School, one of the universities there. I
Okay.
believe the University of Colorado Media School. It might be something else. I'm sorry, I might be wrong saying that name, but we got a group that's helping with us. That, and they kind of just jumped on to try to help, because they can see we're for real,
Mm-hmm.
and that we're trying to do this and do that. And so they're trying to get in and help us a little bit too, get it out more. And
Yeah.
I mean, it's some work to it, getting into all the
Yeah.
what do you call it, the of like with YouTube, getting into algorithms and
The
all that kind of
algorithms.
stuff
Yeah.
with all the different platforms. Every one of them is a little bit different.
Yeah,
And
they
you could
are.
do something in your podcast that'll make it really, show out on another platform, but
Mm-hmm.
then maybe on Facebook, it really doesn't do anything for it,
Yeah.
but then you get, and teaching people to share it themselves and, be proud of what they're doing and
Yeah.
yeah, just share. And there's people out there that want to support us, that really
Oh,
want to
yeah.
help us. Hey, AJ, I wanted to
Absolutely.
mention that one other thing. Remember,
Yeah, go ahead.
I think I mentioned to you that Veterans Day cruise
Oh,
that we're
yeah,
going to
yeah,
be.
yeah.
I just want to, man, this is for, if it's for veterans, okay, but it's for anybody. It's for civilians, anybody. If you like to cruise, if you like to be around, if you're patriotic, you like to, be around some military folks, but just being on the cruise ships, all the only thing you need, right? You go, hey, I want to go cruising. Well, come on and go with us. We're going to cruise next year not next year, this year in November 9th through the 15th. I'm going to pull it up real quick. But anyway, the 9th
Okay.
through the 15th of this year, we're going to be going off the Port Canaveral down by Orlando, Florida, Port Canaveral, and we're going to go on the Carnival Vista, and we are going to be celebrating Veterans Day at sea, okay? And that's why we call it the Veterans Day Cruise, but we're going to be visiting Half Moon Cay, the Amber Cove in the Dominican Republic, and also the brand new island fun place, whatever you want to call it, for Carnival called Celebration Key. It's just opening up this year, late summer, and we're going to be some of the first people that ever go there, which is going to be pretty
That's cool.
And it's really supposed to be phenomenal. Like I said, I haven't been there yet. It's not finished yet, but I'm going to start sharing it. But we'll all be able to share that we've been there and had a great time. And the cool thing with Carnival, and I just really Carnival. I like Carnival cruise lines. One thing, they're not the most expensive cruise line you go on. Okay, so a lot of times they have really great prices, and this one right here is great because you can go for almost about, I think it's $489 or $580 per person.
Oh,
Is
wow.
and that's a 6 nights, 7 days, right? And
Mm-hmm.
but Carnival puts on one of the best military and hero appreciation events that I've
Yeah.
been part of, where they recognize everybody. And they even go as far as they recognize first responders, even the
Mm-hmm.
teachers and medical, workers, AMR and things like that. They include them too. But
Yeah.
really big time on the all the services, playing our songs, recognizing the youngest person there, the oldest, and who
Yeah.
served longest, who served shortest. But they allow people to actually share their stories while that
Oh,
appreciation
nice.
is going on. They give
Yeah.
pins, give little gifts and stuff like that. It's really neat. Plus, they have a big cocktail event, one
Yeah.
afternoon while we're on the cruise ship, and they appreciate the veterans. The CEO of Carnival has a son that's military also. They
Oh,
were
wow.
already doing that beforehand, before he was the
Mm-hmm.
military. But now with that, they're even just their whole group they appreciate veterans.
Yeah.
They really do.
Mike is a big cruise guy. He and his wife, they go out on cruises quite a bit.
I love it myself. Just got back from one.
That's how we
That's how we
got
met.
teamed up. Yeah.
That's how we met.
Not on the cruise, but somebody else met
Yeah,
you and put us in contact.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
yeah. The wife and I
Yeah.
are going on here one on 3 weeks, so I'm looking forward to that. So
Excuse me.
Oh,
Wow. I couldn't get my mouse to go over the mute button. I had to cough real bad. I didn't know I didn't know if it was just going to be one blast or two or three or four, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, that's awesome, man. I love cruising. I would love to see some of your folks get out there on it with us and pump it up, man. Pump it up.
Yeah, for sure. Make sure you send me the link and everything.
I will
for that, and then I'll put it whenever I post this or whatever. I'll put it in the comments so everybody can see it as well.
For sure, for sure.
And same thing for your show. Make sure you send me all the stuff for it so I can put it in there too.
All right. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Right. I got to get that to you.
So yeah,
definitely get that to you.
Man, is there anything else that we're missing, Red? Mike, is there anything else?
Well, I'm O positive.
Okay. My last four is my bank account number is.
Red, I keep telling Andrew we need to do a podcast from a ship.
What's that?
Do a podcast from a ship. I mean, we got to be on a cruise, and
that's what our intentions is to do a lot of recordings while we're on the ship, and we're going to try to be doing the it might not be able to do it live. You might have to record it, then post it, you know. Yeah. But I've actually done some live from the ship, and it worked just fine. It seemed like, but the more you get involved with it, then more things to go wrong, you know.
Yeah,
but
that's
definitely recording is fun, and getting it out, you know, saying, hey, we did this on the cruise ship together. I hope this grows. I mean, last year we had 2 cabins, us and another person. And this year, right? Oh my gosh, I think we got 20 cabins already, maybe 25.
Oh wow.
So, you know, and this is the first year we really advertised and talked about it. I would love to see it be a big event. And man, I would almost be willing to go on one per month, maybe twice, you know, hop on different ships and join up a bunch of other veterans, just have fun, you know?
Yeah. But why can't it just be a cruise ship of veterans?
Wow.
Can you imagine that party?
Let's fill that ship up.
Oh my God, yeah.
Let's fill that ship up. I don't know if they caught word of it. They might not allow it. I know they allow nudists on a cruise ship, you know, to take over a whole ship.
Stuff,
they probably wouldn't let a whole bunch of veterans.
You never know. Yeah, it might be something to look into.
We'll just tell them we ain't all veterans.
There you go.
There's many significant others. There's many husbands or wives here that aren't veterans. They just support the veterans.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, but the sad thing is, at that point, many significant others have taken on the traits of the veteran. So sometimes they're just as bad as,
or maybe worse. Maybe tougher.
Exactly.
Not necessarily worse, but maybe tougher. Maybe tougher.
Yeah.
My wife tells me that all the time. She goes, you know, I never said a cuss word. I never did. I was like, okay, whatever. Yeah. She goes, until I met you, you know, it's the Marine
I don't know if I believe in that for a second.
Yeah.
Hey, I remember a girl we had in the Azores, this girl that she was a controller with us. And I tell you what, her husband, he was the most obnoxious person in the NCO Wives Club.
I love it.
He was there too. And I've seen a couple in the officers' wives clubs, a couple guys that ended up in the officers' wives club, and their wife might have been a major nurse or something like that, colonel, and doctor, and they ended up being some of the most obnoxious officer wives club members.
Wow.
But boy, it'd be fun to travel with.
I love it. Well, hey, Red, as we start kind of drawing down here, we like to do what I call words of wisdom at the end. So it's an opportunity to, you know, just spread your words of wisdom. So I'll start with Mike because I put them on the spot every episode we do. So, but I'll have Mike go first, and then I'll push it over to you and let you do it. How's that sound?
Okay.
All right. Here we go. Words of wisdom. All right, Mike, what do you got?
I've got to get used to your transitions. I'm not used to them yet.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, a stream popped up, and I'm like, okay, let me stop.
It's a good thing it puts you on mute when it pops up.
Thank you. I probably said something I shouldn't have. But
You were probably saying it to me. It's all good.
What else is new?
Yeah, good
This
point.
was from Willie Nelson. Once
Uh-oh.
you replace your negative thoughts with positive ones, you will finally start having positive results.
Ooh, good old Willie. That's pretty good. Yeah. Willie knows what he's talking about.
Willie ain't never missed a beat, man.
That's true.
That joker ain't ever missed a beat.
That's
Yeah,
very
doesn't he
true.
have a son now that's in music?
Yeah, sure
Yeah.
does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, I'm sure he probably has an album out or something. I would imagine. I don't know.
I
I
believe he
haven't seen
does.
it.
I believe
Yeah.
he does. I believe he does. I don't know exactly what it is, but I believe he does.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, typically when we do this, there's more than one person that goes in front of you, Red, and you
Right.
have an opportunity to think.
Hey, I've got a couple of them, man. Words of
Oh,
wisdom, you know.
yeah,
Hey,
hit it. Hit us up.
hey, man, listen. One word of wisdom. If you ain't got no problems, you ain't got no hurts, you ain't living, you know. And
Mm,
so that's
true.
just I don't know. My mom always said, you know, if you ain't got any problems, you're not living, you know.
Yeah.
People always say, it's life's not fair, this is not fair, I got this or I got that. Well, hey, look, you're living. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
but no, I think my biggest thing, words of wisdom, and this is not being able to look it up or taking it off anybody else necessarily, but man, don't keep anything to yourself. You know, if you got anything that's bothering you, got any kind of chip on your shoulder, let somebody know about it. You don't have to carry it. If you've done something in your life that's really, you don't know how bad it could really be affecting you. And just by you letting somebody else know, just a confidant, just somebody, hey, you know, man, just to get it off your shoulders can be a
Yeah.
huge way to really to let it go. And you know, it's like, hey, no secrets, brother, no secret,
Yeah.
sister. And then you never know when you know, even that person you might share it with might come back, you know what, I've got the same thing, you know.
Yeah.
And so it helps somebody else. But you know, share. And then if you're not, you know, with like that group I'm with, the Celebrate Recovery or Alcoholics Anonymous, you know, that's all this stuff is based on anonymity. Well,
Mm-hmm.
hey, I'm a 12-stepper. I ain't got no anonymity. I'll be willing to tell anybody. You can tell anybody or anything else about me. You know, I'm not looking for it, for the anonymity. I want to share, you know, and help others. And
Yeah.
you never know what somebody else is going through. Talk to your friends, talk to your family members. Don't let no stranger. You ain't heard from somebody in a while. Give them a shout. Don't give them a shout. Say, hey, let me borrow $10. You know, give them a shout. Say, hey, how you doing? You know, and just
Yeah.
check on everybody. You know, let's get rid of that 22. And
Absolutely.
that 22 is horrible. And anyway, just I would encourage everybody that right there. Don't think you're going through something that somebody else isn't going through also,
Yeah.
and let it out.
That's wise. Thank you
You're
for
not
saying
alone.
that.
None of us are
Yeah.
alone, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
Well, Red, thanks for coming on and doing this, man. I've had a good time.
hey Jay, I appreciate the invite.
Yeah, it's been good. And I'm sure, Mike, did you have fun tonight?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I'm glad that our paths kind of crossed, if you want to say it that way. But I'm glad I got your information and was able to give you a call, and we actually connect. So this is
Yeah,
good.
hey, I am too. I gotta reach back out to him, you know, and
Yeah,
my old ricochet connection, you know, and
that's
our names
that's
are just
right.
ricocheting off each other. And hey, look there, it hasn't even been 2 weeks, and now we're done a
Yeah,
recording together, you know.
that's right.
Right
That's
on, and I
right.
get to meet Mr. Mack right here, Mike Mack. So,
Yeah,
Thank you.
uh,
that's right.
good to
So you
meet
That's
guys
you.
right.
met through Ricochet?
Say again.
Yeah. Well, one of the guys that runs sound for Ricochet, he's
I
the one
gotcha.
that was on the cruise with Red,
Right. Yeah.
Gotcha.
and
Gotcha.
he basically
Awesome.
was telling him, "I know a guy that does a podcast," and
Oh,
Yes.
that's
Yes.
awesome.
so yeah,
We
worked out
met.
well.
He listen. He saw my hat. Saw me. I was up smoking a cigar, and he came.
Yeah.
I said, "Hey, aren't you the guy that spoke at the veterans thing?" And so we met through that veterans appreciation.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I met so many people, and I've got some things to share about two different groups that all
Okay.
they offer hunting, whether and it's white-tailed deer, boar, and the sister group does tons of pheasant hunting and big game hunting up
Oh
in the
wow.
West. I just can't say their names yet because I haven't gone to check them out. I got to go check because I'm scared they won't have no reservations left, no time spot
Yeah.
for me if I tell everybody about them. But
smart
but I'm
smart
looking
move.
forward to it. One of them's out in Texas.
Yeah.
And one of them's up in the Dakotas. And
Okay.
But I'm going to have him on the podcast here pretty soon.
Very
We
nice.
might even try to go out for a pig hunt in the very near future and do a podcast while we're on location.
Oh,
so I
look
think
at
that would be pretty awesome, you know?
Yeah, it
If
would.
you need anybody to tag along with you, I mean, I know a guy. I mean,
Okay, well,
friend, you know.
Yeah, right on. Where are you at?
I'm in Southwest Georgia.
Oh, that's easy enough. You can get there. You can get there easy too. Texas ain't far away. AJ, where are you located?
I'm in Oklahoma. I'm closer to Texas than you guys.
Wow.
Yeah, I know where you're going with that.
Well, hey, we might need to go out there and meet and throw us a big podcast on together.
Yeah, we can make something happen.
We video a whole daggum hunt. Vets with guns.
At that point, yeah. We'll just title it BOG, Bring Your Own Gun.
Bring your own gun and night vision. Pig hunting, baby.
Yeah. Very nice.
Pig hunting, vet style. But okay, hey, look, nice meeting y'all. No kidding. And
thank you.
Let's keep in touch, okay?
Absolutely. Don't run out on me. To all the listeners out there, if you're struggling, you need help, anything like that, don't forget the VA has some great resources. You can always dial 988, press option 1. You can text 838-255 or go to veteranscrisisline.net and click on the chat icon. Any of those officers will put you in contact with somebody that can help you out. But remember, one veteran life lost is one too many. I care about you. Red cares about you. Mike cares about you. The whole veteran community cares about you. So please reach out for help. And if you're out there, you're not struggling, reach out to the buddies that you serve with, ask them how they're doing it. And if they need a helping hand, please give it to them. All right, one last time, gents, thanks for coming on. Much appreciated. To all the listeners out there, stay motivated, change your socks.